Hey babes, welcome back. Today we're going to take a look at one of the hottest new K-beauty babies to come out of Korea, and that is Rom&nd. I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce the name correctly because it literally is Rom&nd, so Rom&nd, like romance, or Rom&nd. Your guess is as good as mine. I'm just going to call it Rom&nd because it sounds nice. The brand has been around for a while, but they seem to have only just started to come out of Korea, and we have it in Singapore at Guardian's if you were unaware. So you can find it at some of the larger select stores, or you can go online to search for Rom&nd products. Now, because I ordered quite a big selection of products, and I do have some things that are still on the way to me, so I'm going to break this down probably into two videos, and I'm going to start out with some of the newer and glossier products today, including the Zero Cushion as well as the Glasting water tint, and in the next video I will cover the Zero matte lipsticks and also a matte cushion. Just looking at some of the local official prices online, this is more of a mid-range, almost budget brand for Korea. Now a cushion like this will set you back $30+, close to $40. It sounds cheap, but then do remember that you only get one single cushion refill inside, so technically speaking you're not getting much more than you would if you bought, say, a Laneige Neo cushion which comes with 2 refills. You do get a lower entry price point if you just want to check this out instead of committing to 2 refills at one shot. Most of the lip and cheek products are priced just under $20 as well, so it's reasonable, but also look out for promotions. An iQuad will set you back $26.90 before discount, of course, and just looking at everything so far, it seems like the price point is very, very close to Etude House. Obviously, there are also a lot of sellers online, so, depending on your risk tolerance, just do a little bit of search yourself and do your price checks. I'm going to start off with Zero Cushion, and this one has been getting so much hype in the past few months. There are glowing reviews on YouTube, and it made me really, really curious to try it out. I'm still curious to see if I would like this more than my Neo cushions though. Zero Cushion comes in a traditional circular compact with a puff and a refill that you can pop out and replace when it's finished. Just looking at the descriptions online, this is called Zero Cushion because 1, it's supposed to feel like it has zero weight on your skin. It shouldn't feel heavy, it shouldn't feel thick. 2, zero oxidization. The shade you see at the start of the day is going to be the shade you get at the end of the day. It's not supposed to get darker or go orange or grey on your skin. The last claim is 3, zero concealer. So this is supposed to be very, very high coverage. It's supposed to blur pores, cover discolorations and blemishes, so you shouldn't technically need a second product for extra camouflaging anywhere else. So we're going to put this to the test. I'm going to go in with the puff first, just to get the maximum coverage possible and let you guys see how it looks against the other side. Oh! This is a lot of coverage. I'm gonna thin it out a little. I think they have a very different definition of a semi-matte because this, to me, is very, very much more in the satin, almost dewy category. They were not kidding though about not needing extra concealer, and that is the most impressive thing for me so far because my scab is pretty much gone with a few pats, and under the eyes, I could just go out the door like this and be fine with it. The issue though with something this high coverage is that if it doesn't last very well, or if it smears off, or it doesn't match your skin, it's going to be very, very obvious. It's been about 2 minutes and I'm going to do a quick finger transfer test just to see how it looks. Yeah, can you see that? So It definitely does not adhere 100%. It's not drying down. You will 100% need to set this if you are in a very humid place like this or you have combination skin. I'm not sure I would recommend this for oilier skins, but I will wear this for the rest of the day and then do a final conclusion at the end. Now let's try this side with a brush and see how it goes. Look at the coverage. If you want to build coverage, then use the puff because this just stabs it right on. If you want a lighter finish, you can always use a regular foundation brush to sweep it around. This helps you to control the amount of coverage you get and just apply a much lighter coat. And then I just spot apply it just where I want a little bit more coverage. Let's move on to the blush, and this is the Better Than Cheek blush, which I got in shade 05. This looks like a nice, soft, corally, peachy pink, which should work with most lip and eye colors. This has a really pretty cloudy matte kind of a finish as you build it up. Like you can see, it's like cotton candy matte. This does remind me of one of my other favorite K-beauty blush formulas, and that is Moonshot's Air Blusher. You just have to remember that if you're wearing one of these matte blushes, it will remove that glow you get from a cushion or a dewy foundation. The cushion is already creasing and cracking under the eyes, so maybe avoid any powder around this area if you're not going to be wearing a matte concealer. It does layer beautifully. Not gonna lie, this is pretty cool, except I'd rather not have to touch up if I don't have to. Now onto the eye quad. I chose M01, which is a beautiful selection of very nice, soft, warm, fall appropriate matte tones and then just one single sparkly pop shade. I tend to like palettes that have a good contrast between the pale and deeper shades and also textural contrast, meaning there's a matte and there's a very highly sparkly shade in there, just so, you know, when you put it on, when you blend colors together, they don't all look the same.
I haven't gotten used to your scent. I'm certain you have had another cigarette. Nothing could prepare me for your style. The way your laughter seemed to go for miles and miles. You have 1,000 eyes that never fall asleep. Someday I will leave you when I've had enough of your beauty. Doopy-doop-boom-bo-ee-da-dum-ee-dum-ba-dum. Doopy-doop-boom-ba-dum-ba-dum-doo-dum. Doopy-doop-boom-bo-ee-da-dum-ee-dum-ba-dum. Doopy-doop-boom-ba-dum-ba-dum-doo-dum. You have 1,000 eyes that never fall asleep.
I really like this quad. The mattes are very velvety smooth and buttery, so they go on without needing a lot of extra work blending. They don't go patchy, they don't grab in areas. With the first pass, you get a sheerer color, but by the second pass, most of these colors go opaque and they really become more rich. What I really appreciate is that this formula allows you optimal control. It goes on sheer, but you can build by a second coat. It doesn't take you a long time to pack and pack and pack on colors for intensity. Neither is it so pigmented that it's gonna grab and look patchy and cakey or weird in areas. So this is a really good formula for beginners, especially if you like mattes. Now I did take a look at some of the other palettes online, and it does look to me like the colors are very typical of K-beauty brands in the sense that a lot of them are warm. You have peachy, corally, pinky tones, and also some neutrals. Not a lot of cool tones, not a lot of really strong colors like blues and greens. As for the color choice, I really like this one. I wasn't specifically going for a fall aesthetic, but it just turned out this way, you know, very falling leaves kind of colors. Last thing I'm going to try today are 2 shades of the Glasting water tints. I think these are relatively new, and this is one of those gel lacquer type formulas that leaves a little bit of a stain on your mouth, but has this glossy coat that's not sticky and it doesn't feel like a gloss. I do have some matte lip formulas with me, but I will try these together with the matte cushion after that one arrives. First shade is 03 Brick River. This shade is one of those sun-dried tomato colors, but it doesn't have too much orange in it. As you can see, the texture is like a gel stain. It goes on very, very translucent. You can go back in to add more just to do an ombre effect or give yourself a little bit more intensity, but I don't suggest layering on too much because this has a tendency to look a little bit uneven because the formula is designed to stay quite translucent. So it always has this jelly-like effect, and I think it looks best kept that way. 04 is a beautiful rosy, dusky chestnut rose. This is brown but not brown, red but not red. It's kind of in between in all the best possible ways. Again, like the previous shade, you can try to build it up a little bit, but it always stays quite translucent and jelly-like. I think if you're using a deeper shade and you try to just layer on more and more product, it's going to look patchier, it's going to highlight any lines or cracks in your lips. Now that I've got on a whole face of Rom&nd makeup, I'm gonna get on with my day and then check in with you later this evening just to let you see how it's worn. Very quickly though, just looking at the foundation, it's creasing under the eyes and a little bit around the nasolabial line. So this is definitely not a long wear cushion. It is not going to be very crease resistant. I'm not entirely sure it's transfer resistant. Let's check. Teeny tiny bit coming off, not too bad, not as bad as I was expecting, so I won't say too much for now. Stay posted. Alright babes, it is 8 p.m. I've been wearing this for 9 hours now, so let's take a look and see how it's looking. I haven't really blotted, so I'm seeing an unseemly amount of shine. This promises to be a pore blurring formula, but at this point with this level of shine, I don't think my pores are being blurred at all. Now I was wearing a mask in the afternoon and it did transfer off. There's a little bit of staining everywhere, but I don't think it looks too bad on my face. I mean, my blush is still intact. On second thought, let me zoom you in. I'm not certain how visible it is, but around the nose where the face mask was, the cushion has pretty much transferred off, so there's a little gap here, and if I try to just smooth it out with my finger, I'm pretty much just lifting the product off. Definitely broken down, so it's gathering in the folds a little bit. It's not pretty here. On my chin, it's kind of lifted off the skin a little bit. It's gathering a tiny bit, so I can see, up close that it's starting to break down, and if I touch it, it's going to lift off. Yeah, there, it just came right off. The coverage is still definitely there. It's still on my little scab here, so this at least is looking okay. Surprisingly, it's doing relatively well under my eyes. This is my usual problem spot because this is a very, very dry area of my face. It also creases when I talk, when I laugh, when I move. It seems that this has provided enough hydration and coverage that it's not looking as bad as it would otherwise be looking. I'm gonna do my usual blot test and we'll see how it looks after that. Nasty. I see this line of demarcation where I pressed and lifted the blotting sheet off, where it's taken off, that whole section of product. This has not done well on my oilier zone, so I totally do not recommend this if you have oily or even combination skin. I think this would be better suited for normal to dry skins in general. Also, if you live in a humid place or you need to wear this for a really, really long day, I'm not sure that this would be my first choice or top recommendation. simply because it really just keeps shifting. It doesn't lock onto your skin. So if you happen to touch yourself or scratch your face or, rub it in any way, you may find like a gap where the product has just completely been smeared off. So final thoughts, amazing coverage with this. I would leave it for a special occasion if you're not likely to be out for a very, very long time and you're not likely to need a touch-up. You won't be rubbing your face or sweating too much. Big dinner, this is going to make you look completely flawless. Blush, loving it. It is still on my skin. It still looks fresh. It actually left my skin looking velvety and feeling really velvety. This is the type of blush that makes your pores and texture less visible. Eye quad, love it. I love the texture. I love how blendable and smooth everything is. But again, at the end of the day, it depends on whether you find a quad of colors that you really like. Last but not least, the Glasting water tints. Now, I've had this on the whole day. I sipped a little bit of water, but I skipped lunch, so I haven't eaten anything yet. Otherwise, I'm pretty sure that some of the product would have been removed, but I'm still pretty surprised how long lasting these are, despite the fact that these are a tint or a stain. Well, the name says Glasting, so glossy and lasting, so I probably shouldn't have been surprised. I would say that glossy gel finish on the surface of the lips kind of wore away after maybe about 2 or 3 hours, and you'll be left with a satin finish like this one, but it still has that beautiful kind of ombre stain-like look. And my lips have stayed very, very comfortable. Quick blot test. Oh, do you see barely any stain? Maybe a teeny tiny bit around the lip line, but again, not a whole lot is coming off. So after this kind of dries down and sets into your mouth, it still has a little bit of that sheen, but there's minimal transfer. So this one has impressed me a lot. I might try to pick up a couple of different colors after this, just because these two are a little bit close, more on the warm, kind of reddy, browny, orangey side, and I want to try something a little bit more cool toned. And that is it for part 1 of my Rom&nd test, try, and overview. Do stay posted for part 2. I will test some of the more matte products and also the contouring powder. If you have favorites from the brand to recommend, please let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video.